Hello, everybody, and welcome to TP Talks. I'm your moderator, Executive Vice President of Digital Sales and Strategy with Teleperformance, Michael Aronowitz. The pandemic has supercharged the customer's digital mindset and fueled expectation from multiple channels and tools to help people make purchase decisions. As a result, companies have had to evolve their own systems and processes to build engagement and meet the buyer at a place at a time when they choose it. To help answer some of these pressing questions, I'm joined by Rob Roy, Senior Vice President and Head of New Business Innovation with T-Mobile. Welcome, Rob.
Hey, what's going on?
Living the dream, living the dream. For everybody here, welcome. I'm going to play a quick video that's going to talk about what we're doing today, and then we'll get right to it. Couple of quick housekeeping for everybody here. Take control of your console, ask a lot of questions in the QA box at any time, and just listen and learn. But again, ask as many questions as you can. And let's jump in. Rob, just an impressive resume. You've been around for a while. I've known you for a long time. You've driven just an enormous amount of customers through digital channels, and through the different positions that you have as Chief Digital Officer and just the different roles and where you are today. Tell me where you think the future of digital sales is going.
Oh, that's a loaded one, I think. For me, I'm not sure it's like exactly about just digital sales. I think it's really about where's the future of every consumer action going to have digital enablement, and what piece of that journey does digital help the consumer in, whether it's self-serve, proactive from the brands. I mean, one of the biggest, eye openers now is that, a lot of brands don't necessarily control the singular actions that a consumer sees about that particular brand because of all the social noise that's out there and all of the easeability that consumers have in just being in touch with brands, maybe not even aware that they're being in touch with them. And so I think it's really going to be about how brands and marketers and product owners react to digital enablement and creating those right touch points for the consumers in their particular journey.
And when you think about that and you look at the tools and technologies and automation and AI, how do you balance automation and AI with personalization, right? So there's so many opportunities to automate things and use AI, but consumers still like to talk to people. They still want to ask questions. So when you're thinking about acquiring new customers and rolling out new products, how do you balance all that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think, look, personalization is fantastic when done well, when done right, when done in the moment. AI and machine learning and all of this stuff can help you understand those moments quicker. It can help you identify those moments when they matter. I think it still is up to someone on the other side of the keyboard, though, to recognize that that moment's happening and put those personal touches into the experience. And so, how do you add value with the insights? Do you know the customer's name? Do you know the purchase history? Do you know their buying patterns? Do you know what they want? And are you able to recommend, relevant options in that moment in time versus just, set it and forget it? Like, I think that's what a lot of brands assume, is that it's a journey with an endpoint. And I look at, interacting with the consumer, whether through AI, ML, and the personalization outputs of that as an ever-going marathon, I guess an ultra marathon. You hit certain mile markers and you have to reevaluate and relook at it and understand. And then I also think that it's not just for a consumer-facing application. It's what applications can you use to make your sales force, more steady, more understanding of the consumer's needs, give them the little tidbits and insights that they need to make a better sale as well.
When you're looking at acquiring customers and you're looking at, cost per acquisitions, and when you get to complex buying decisions, right? And there's so many opportunities with social media, paid search, different types of platforms. How do you figure out what's best? What's the best way to lower your cost per acquisition and drive the highest revenue per transaction? Like, what's going on in Rob's mind when he says, okay, what are the things that you look at?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, there's no one silver bullet. What are you trying to do, right? So start with the objective. What's the objective? If it's just high level brand awareness, then you're looking at a totally different set of lenses. But what do you do with that repository, that upper funnel information when that person, that consumer is ready to make a purchase and they're down at the lower funnel? So you're investing in your marketing value chain throughout the life cycle of a consumer. I think first and foremost, one of the most important things is understanding the data that you have and then starting to use that data. When you have a set of insights and you understand the value cycle that the consumer's in, you can make decisions about your buying and purchasing habits through media based on that consumer segment. So if someone is in a ready to buy mode, you're going to go deeper down the funnel and go, paid search, programmatic, social. You may even start to do more proactive chat if they're within your universe. But if someone's, still kind of in that ideation phase, or as you lent into a more complex set of decisions that need to be made, then how do you start to think about virtual retail or in-store applications or outbound calling or something like that? So for me, you've got a set of pushes and you got a set of pulls, and each one of those segments, based on their kind of place in the life cycle, is going to be pulled in a different manner. And so I think that's probably the most important thing, is that not one set of tools is going to work for everybody. You've got to be really flexible and understand that your marketing value chain is gonna ebb and flow. And again, it goes back to that. It's not a set it and forget it. Go figure out what motivates that particular segment and lean into it, but then learn from it for the next time.
You and I are been around the block when we watched the shift from desktop to mobile, and sometimes there was people who said, mobile's never going to work out. Now you look where mobile is. I see that with video. Like, I see video as the next boom, live selling and the way people interact. What do you think about that?
Oh my gosh. All right. So, I love live streaming. I'm enthralled by it. If anybody's interested in really seeing it done well, look to Southeast, look to Asia, look to Southeast Asia, those countries out there. They started it a long time ago. They're perfecting it. I mean, this this is this generation's QVC or what have you, right? It's like, we know the format, we know the model, it works. Now we're tailoring it for for the new technologies that are available, like live streaming. It's entertaining. It's a broadcast, not an infomercial. It's not like, hey, look at the ShamWow thing that you've got here. They're fun, they're exciting. I think that a lot of brands have found success by creating a much more interactive setting about it, and how that kind of fits organically into maybe the content that they have, but also it feels, it's like real reality TV in real time. Like, a user could sit there and they can tell the commentator via the broadcast, like, hey, show me this item, or could you go grab this item, or tell me a little bit more about that. And so it's so much more interactive. It's literally like what QVC used to be, when late night infomercials and stuff like that, and you're calling in, but now you're doing it real time. Somebody's walking through a market, you see it buying, you get all excited because a bunch of people are buying a bunch of things. So I love it as the future, and I think there's a lot of really interesting applications beyond kind of that singular celebrity or whatever going around doing that sell. I think brands can learn from that in call center applications, in-store applications with retail associates, so on and so forth. So I think it's got a lot of really interesting legs to it.
Now, you brought up something before. You were talking about non-voice, right? So we talk about video. I think that's something that's going there. I also think non-voice sales are something that is just, again, part of the future, right? Chat and non-voice kind of go hand in hand. Where do you stand on non-voice these days?
Great tool for somebody that don't want to talk to somebody. I mean, it's on your time, right? You're so tied to whether it's iMessage or WhatsApp or Facebook messaging or whatever. Just because I asked the question doesn't necessarily mean I need the answer right now, or maybe I don't have the time to get the answer to the question right now. But I can put it out there. I can get some responses. It's more and more people just want to chat. They don't want to pick up the phone and call, right? They want to chat about things in the way that they're used to chatting with their friends or with groups. And so I think brands leaning into all of those opportunities, whether it's on-site chat or it's through the various messaging platforms, is going to be huge, because it's one more touch point. It's one more way to start to create brand ambassadorship, and just another way for you to, as a brand person, have another touch point with a consumer and allow your particular brand points shine with them.
Hey, for anybody out there that has a question for Rob, you can jump in right now, or we can wait to the end. But please post them and ask them. So let's say we talked about video, talked about non-voice, obvious traditional voice. The omni-channel approach, is that still something that sits out there and it's a way? I mean, should you be touching anything you possibly can to drive a customer?
I'll give you my secret to digital transformation. I think it comes down to 4 pillars. Spoiler, yes. If anybody's out there thinking about the digital team and what the digital team's doing and how the digital team is acting, you're a couple years too late. No longer is digital just confined within the digital team. I see digital as the thread throughout the entire organization. And the 4 pillars that you have to focus on as an organization is the people, the data, the process, and then the technology. And getting the people on board to be digitally enabled, understand what's happening in your digital environments and your virtual retail environments, setting up the right processes to not only attribute those sales or understand those sales, but allow the consumer to flow between those channels as if it was nothing, right? I walked down one aisle and I walked to the next aisle. It's the same as I called, I chatted, I walked into the store. Getting to that type of fluidity, because that's what a consumer expects. And then to be able to do all of that, you have to enable data democratization and your ability to allow the whole organization to see all of that data in near real time the way it's meant to be seen so that they can make those decisions as it relates to their particular channel. And then you have the technology that powers it. So simply said, yes, omnichannel is way important. And I think it's the sum of all of those parts that make up the journey. And it's not just, hey, save me money, drive them online, or hey, add more AOV, send them to the store.
One of the reasons why I always love talking to you is because your mind kind of thinks sometimes the way mine does, right? Attribution, right? Where most people can't even figure out attribution, you have already figured it out. And if you can just go a little deeper when you talk about the different channels, about bringing it all together, that's a challenge for people, attribution, right? They just don't sometimes get that one channel leads to another, which leads to an acquisition. So how do you measure acquisition these days? I mean, attribution.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, there's a couple ways that you can look at it, in its most basic form, let's look at touch points. Did someone log into your website? Did you get a hit on social media? Did you get a click in paid search? Did you get an eyeball in display media? If it's a known customer, them logging in or having some sort of PII event where you're able to capture that in the right way with the right privacies. You capture those events, and then you see, did they go to a store? Did they make a phone call? Did they chat with you? And so I think the first most important part is just, one, understanding no channel delivers the sale on its own, right? So if you can get over that hump and you can convince your leadership team that it wasn't just one channel, it's never one channel that does it, right? It's never just one thing. If you start there with that understanding of that mindset, then you start to build those blocks around, okay, what would I need to capture a login event? What would I need when someone walked into a store? Do I need them to have downloaded the app and I can just actually watch some location data? Do I need them to check in at a kiosk? When they call our call center, is there some identification that I need, or can I just do it off of the phone number? Those types of events. So I think starting there is just so important. If you can't get your foundations, what I call the basics, take the time to get that layering correct. Get that basics, that 101 down and perfect. And then that starts to allow you to get into the keys of data, which is the democratization. Data is the most amazing thing in the world, but if it's trapped within the data scientists or in your Hadoop environment and nobody can get it and look at it and make a decision off of it, it's worse than oil sitting under the ground. You can't pull it out and can't use it.
Question for you, coming from the audience. How do you see required skill sets evolve based on the changes in channel mix and AI?
How do you see the required skill sets evolve based on the channel? Oh, well, I think first, I guess the question probably is, what's the usage of AI? So for me, there's a bunch of different uses. Maybe I'll scale it down just to a few here. But if you're looking to be a data scientist that's writing algorithms to create or capture unique experiences to then reply those out to the next batch of segments, then understanding how to write algorithms, going that traditional data scientist route, that kind of stuff. But if you're somebody that needs to ingest that information, it's as simple as being curious and being a business owner. Some of the best AI applications that I've enjoyed building have been ones centered around the call centers and the phone trees. And how do you up level your agents to make them better? So taking and building algorithms around your best call center reps to take that low quartile consumer rep and bring them up to the median, bring them up to the best or close to the best, and then put pressure on those best reps to get even better. And so in that type of application, you're basically hiring somebody to go build those applications for you, but you have to really understand the business of what are you trying to do? Don't just do, it's like doing digital transformation, because everyone's talking about digital transformation. Like, you put the why in front of it. Why are you doing it? What's the purpose? What's the reason? And I think that's going to inform what particular, I don't know what this person's particular asking if they want to go down the data scientist route or not, but if you want to use AI don't start by buying AI. Start by understanding why you want to use AI. And then from that application, you can work your way back into the skill sets.
Cool, cool. We'll hit the next question. What challenges do you see that automated systems can face in dealing with customers' objections?
I mean, anytime a customer is objecting, it's probably because they've got some passion around a particular point, or your bot has said no 7 times to the question to them when they say, "Can I talk to somebody?" or "Can I do something?" and it's not understanding you. So first thing, when you're teaching automated systems to do stuff, you got to have a trapdoor. You have to have an out to a rep. You have to have that out where, if the consumer asks the same question in various ways a couple times, and it's obvious you haven't answered that question, don't ask them if they want to talk to a rep. Push them to the rep right away. 2, you got to have your reps constantly reading these automated scripts and these resolutions and understanding what your resolution accuracy and resolution rate are. Now, those are 2 very different things, accuracy and rate. Your rate could be that the bot just said, "Hey, congratulations to myself. I did it. I closed them out. They didn't ask another question." To the consumer, that could have been, "I clicked the box to get the heck out of there because the guy, the bot wasn't giving me the right answers." Accuracy is what matters. Accuracy is they don't come back. They feel like they got the right answer. They feel like they got a good answer, and they feel like they got an empathetic answer. And so when a consumer is in an objective mode, something's gone wrong. And 9 times out of 10, I want to get that away from the hands of an automated experience, because that usually means that either 1, we have a bad process and a bad setup, and it's probably not just them, or 2, it's a very unique situation that we haven't coded for yet, and we've got to get into the hands of one of our best reps to resolve that as quickly as possible to keep them and their NPS score up.
It's a great one, and this is one that we've talked about in the past, and everyone always tries to go there, right? The question of upselling and cross-selling. How best do you balance, leverage additional products and services when interaction with a customer begins as a care call? Upselling, cross-selling. Right approach, wrong approach.
Wrong approach is starting with the upsell. Thank you. I know you want to cancel, but would you like a triple play instead? That's going to be the wrong approach to the business outcome. Look, I think it's always, and this is one of the things. This is actually a perfect use case for AI. AI can start to sense the tone of the conversation and determine whether the rep should make that upsell or not, based on tonality, based on words that the consumer is using, and based on use case. So as an example, for those of you that run call centers or interact with call centers, obviously we're here with some of the best in the business. They have scripts, and those scripts are meant to be guidelines so that they can take you through a particular set of checkpoints, whether that's to make sure that you hit all the points, or you're doing it in the right way. You have to resolve the issue first. But if this person comes in all steamed up and you resolve their issue and they're begrudgingly happy with you and move on, don't give them a reason to be mad again by saying, "Oh, and by the way, here's another $30 product that I want to hand you." You got to understand the tone of the conversation, how it's going. Can you continue to exude empathy for the issue that's at hand? And if you can form a relationship. When you form a relationship, there's now trust. When there's trust, you can start to give them new guidance and new opportunity. But I would say that most times, if someone's calling in to care for a bad reason, you do not want to try to upsell them. But this is where omnichannel comes back into play. What attributes, what connections, what data and insights are you hanging on to post that call to enable the comeback, to enable them to come back and have a reason to invest time with you again? Whether that's you offering a callback to ensure that the resolution was complete, that now gains you entry back to that consumer in a probably more polite and happy manner so that you can do your upsell, or it's getting them back via email or a text message or something like that to get them back into the funnel. But I have listened to way too many calls where you can tell someone is reading down a script, not understanding, understanding the fact that they need to check the box and in checking the box, they're aggravating the customer even more.
Two things. I want to get to another question, but you said something that I still do to this day, and it's something that is so amazing. You said, listen to calls. There's so many people that I should tell you to listen to calls. Like, if you're in customer acquisition and you're not listening to calls, and that's traditionally listen to them and then through voice analytics, right? If you're not listening to the voice of the consumer, you're working on your hunches, and hunches don't work. And you must have said it 15 times in here, right? Data. And I'm still amazed of how many people don't listen to calls and realize what's going on, especially now. Some people still go with the traditional, let's do 2 calls per week per agent, when you could listen to 100% of the calls and find out what the consumer's saying. I want to jump to one last question here.
Hey, real quick, Mike.
Yeah.
The best thing a digital or really anybody that works for a brand can do is get 3 feet from the customer. If you can get 3 feet from the customer, you're going to understand everything that's happening.
Yep. You're so right. This one says, I think a majority of customers would prefer to transact online, but avoid so by doing so with the knowledge or information. How do you provide just enough to get them over to hump the digital buy flow without sending them down a rabbit hole? Yeah, put the phone number on the page. But hey, what's your thoughts?
Papa chat. No, you know what? I don't know that consumers prefer to transact online. I know people transact online. Sure, probably everybody over the last year and a half has bought thousands of dollars worth of stuff on Amazon. I think that people prefer to purchase the way they want to purchase. And it's our job to create a seamless journey across all of those touch points. It could not be more frustrating when you get into a complex buy flow and have to bail out to a call and start all over again, or go to the store and have to start all over again. It's no more infuriating to get 7 steps down a buy flow and find out that the item's not available, or we're now asking you the price change from the first page to the last page. So what I would say is you got to look at every single page of step of the way and look for all of those opportunities to make things simpler, to make things easy. That's going to get you the best bang for your buck, but you're gonna need to do that at every channel, every step of the way. Don't just focus on it online. Online's a huge shift today, but people they want to be where they want to be, and so don't discount all the other channels.
Yeah, we all know that a voice call is going to convert higher than an online transaction and drive more revenue, right? Speaking to someone, right? Solving your problem. There's no perfect way, but I agree with you, giving customers choice and option to buy the way they want to buy. As we wrap up today, if we're sitting here probably 2 years from now, we're both a little older, a little grayer, I'm a little more bolder, right? What's that one thing that you say, but this is really like we talk digital, right? Is it, when we talk digital transformation, right? What's going on in Rob's head when you hear that? When everybody says, "Oh, digital transformation," what do you think when you hear that?
People, process, data, and technology. Those 4 things. Those 4 things are the holy grail for a really good foundation to digital transformation. They all have their own journeys and paths, but it always starts with people. If you can't get your company behind digitization, meaning digitize their processes, their systems, the way they do things, it's going to be really hard to get your consumers behind a digital approach. And so I think for me, it most important, it starts with people. Every company's got their own journey, so you can't say, hey, go this way, go that way, or do this thing. You can look for the tips and tricks, but I believe those 4 foundational items are going to be ever present in every transformation, with digital now the thread that holds all of them together.
Rob, I can't thank you enough for doing this. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. Your brain is just sometimes so far ahead of most of us. It's amazing. As we wrap up, and you see that any words of advice for people who's just, they're scared of data? I know so many people that, again, want to do 2 calls per week per agent. They're just scared of data. What's your last minute tip for them not to be scared of data?
You're going to find that one call or that one item that's going to make a load of difference. You know, if you're scared of data, it usually means you have trouble getting to the data or the data's not right. So spend the time, you know, just get comfortable with data. You know, pick one element, one KPI, get comfortable with it, make sure it's right, and then add to your portfolio, add to your dashboard. You know, a lot of times, you know, I see these decks, you know, hundreds of pages of KPIs, and I just have no clue how you could possibly make a decision off of all of those. I start with 4 and work your way from there. You'll uncover new and exciting opportunities. But yeah, listen to the calls, be 3 feet from the consumer, understand the preferences, the concerns, the issues. That's all data too, just because it doesn't fall in a spreadsheet. You know, get that anecdotal data as well.
I want to thank everybody for coming today. It's been a pleasure. And Rob, thank you so much.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody listening.